right, welcome, folks. Crazy out there, huh? I mean, what is going on? Just a huge, huge rally. And I know some of you are watching Theo Trade, and they were saying, bear market rally, all this stuff. But I mean, we are back to 2,600 at this point with the stimulus package has passed the Senate, as most of you probably know, and it's waiting to go to the House for final approval. I think they needed like a 24-hour announcement window time, so we didn't expect that to happen today, but it seems pretty clear that this thing is going to go through with a big rally going on. I was watching Steve Mnuchin on CNBC this morning with Jim Cramer. You know, people have a lot of kind of nasty things to say about Jim Cramer, but you got to give someone credit who's been able to make like millions and millions of dollars in this market. I mean, in the market. So credit where credit is due. Yeah, so I'm working the facial hair since I'm home and don't have to shave for my job. And there we have the closing bell. All right, so the last couple of days I was like on TVIX rescue mode, trying to talk people down off the ledge in TVIX, but now we're just back to normal stuff. And the priority here is the people who are here all the time, and I am grateful for new people that have arrived, but the priority is for new people people who are here all the time and to help you guys make money. Just on a note, the guy who joined the program, I'm not sure if you wanted to join, officially join, or you just press join to kind of start the live stream, because it seems like you messaged me and you were a little confused. So if you didn't actually want to pay for a $1.99 membership, I'm sure you can get it refunded. I'm not trying to hold people hostage, but there we have it. And yeah, the VIX. I think that CNBC actually kind of got it right this morning when they said that, look, and I say this all the time, to figure out the VIX, you got to go back to the SPX. And we've just had so much movement around. When we're moving 2-3% per day, even if that movement is up, the VIX is just not going to come in. That's the way it is. Now, I don't anticipate us making new highs unless something like super really bad happens. And I don't know what super worse can happen than like 3 million unemployed or something like that. So I expect my view of volatility is that it slowly comes in. It's going to ebb and flow, but it slowly comes in. With that being said, remember, we are in an inverted and backward term structure right now. So VIX stays high like this. Don't expect TVIX and UVXY and VXX to make huge down moves unless the VIX actually goes lower. And, we can't have the VIX go lower when the Nasdaq's up 400 in a day. We need things to kind of calm down a little bit. And so I think, the VIX is just reflecting how much the market's moving around. And in a sense, it seemed like yesterday, well, first of all, let me say, once this bill does go through the House and it's confirmed that the stimulus package is in place, we should see at least a temporary knocking down of volatility. That makes sense to me, But, usually we associate the VIX going up with the market selling off. But in this case, like the more we rally from here, people are just shocked that we've rallied so much. And it makes me think of all those fund managers out there who must be like kicking themselves. Like they're like, get me out of the market, get me out of the market. People sold all their positions, and then it's like bounces all the way back. So I know people are probably chasing stuff around. Now, if you watch Theo Trade, you've watched Don Kaufman's commentary about how he was describing the last rally a couple days ago as a typical bear market rally, saying that basically, implying that we're going to give it all back and then head lower. I don't think that we can predict exactly what's going to happen here. I don't think it's a given that we have to go and make new lows from here. Certainly stuff is bouncing all around. Certainly we're not out of this. As long as the VIX is above 50, we're not out of this. So, just stay tuned for a continuing volatile market. That being said, I wouldn't be chasing stocks upward. It's like DRI. I bought some for in the the low 40s, sold it in the high 40s, and then it got up to 60 now. I don't really feel like chasing this stuff that's so far off the lows. Same thing with like Boeing. Just to repeat what Jim Cramer was saying on CNBC this morning, the airlines were not bailed out. Steve Mnuchin called back into the show to remind people that they had not bailed out the airlines. And so the pop in Boeing might be kind of overdone. There's an article on Drudge Report about how the government wants a piece of the airlines to bail them out. They want equity and then kind of to be paid back, that sort of thing. The other thing that's concerning, of course, is that we don't know the exact plan, the exact makeup of the stimulus. I mean, we've heard stuff about people getting paid the money, but that's, this is a huge bill with all kinds of stuff in it, and they haven't released it to the public yet. So we're going to have to wait to see what happens. Will TVIX bounce to 800? I see on there. I would find that to be far-fetched that would happen, especially when we're like rallying, we're off the lows. For TVIX to get back to 800 or 1,000, we need the market to start like making new lows. So we need to give up what we've lost and start making new lows. The only reason TVIX was up around 800, 900, 1,000 is that the market was in free fall and there was no end in sight. At that moment, we didn't know if it was going to go through 2,000, through 1,800. We didn't know what was going to happen. But now that stuff has kind of bounced and leveled off a little bit, I really don't anticipate TVIX going back to 800 at all. In fact, I would be surprised if we got to 600 again. So I would certainly. There's been some chances to get out of TVIX recently. I am not a proponent of getting long TVIX and UVXY and whatnot under normal conditions. But certainly not at these elevated levels. And I'm not trying to, I feel bad for people that have lost money, certainly. And, as I said on the advertisement for this live stream, my view is just one view out of many. And certainly people are going to have different views from me. So take it with a grain of salt. We can, we can still be friends and have different market views. That whole thing of like all the longs should stick together and all the shorts should stick together is ridiculous, I think. Anyway, Edward, my moderator, wanted me to mention to you folks who trade the miners, Dust and Nugget are the 3 times leveraged miners. There is a note on the Direction website saying that they weren't able to rebalance Dust properly yesterday, so it's not 3 times leverage to the upside. It's only 2 point something times leverage to the upside. But more importantly, they are going to nerf Dust and Nugget from 3 times leverage to 2 times leverage, and that's not going to happen until May. So I appreciate the fact that they actually gave time for people to digest that information, unlike when the Volmageddon, when they just changed products without giving people notice. If people have time to digest this and plan, then that's fair. What's not fair is to go, tomorrow we're switching it from 3 times leverage to 1 times leverage or something like that, especially when there's options involved, because that just destroys option volatility. When you have a 3 times leverage product, the options are flying around much more than if you've got like a 1 times leverage. So it's just totally unfair to options traders to just change this stuff. Now, people who have positions out past May in Dust are getting screwed right now. That's for sure, because the long-term vol is going to come in, and I'm sure we already saw that come in on the announcement of this, but be careful on that stuff. All right, so let's take a look at the term structure for a second. And once again, I am short VXX still. I have sort of a condor on, but let's take a look at the term structure real quick, and we can get to some more questions. I haven't really been looking at the chat very much here. Also, my moderator also wanted me to mention that the trader Michael Listman, UVXY, I think he's UVXY trader on Twitter, is starting to sell naked calls again in UVXY. So if you use him as a template or signal, I guess that speaks to the fact that maybe he feels that this stuff is starting to chill out a little bit. See if my screens are going to come up here. So, we are, as I said a few minutes ago, we are still in backwardation, and it's ugly. And we don't seem to be coming out of it. I mean, there is a lot of room between the futures and the spot VIX right now. And as long as this is the case, this is going to hold up. Even when we get down moves in the VIX, this is going to hold up these products. So be aware of this. The shape of the term structure. They were on. The people I was watching on CNBC were like, they didn't understand how this stuff works. They were like saying, well, on one hand, the VIX is this price, and on another hand, the farther out VIX is this price. They were referring to it as if the VIX was like the front month VIX futures, and the other futures were like farther out in time. That's not the case at all. The case actually is that the VIX is a number based 30 days out, but it's not tradable. April futures are actually closer to they're sampling volatility closer than the actual VIX number. It's not like the VIX is the front month and these other things are back months. So I understand there's confusion in the sort of mainstream media on a lot of things, but you can add the VIX to their confusion. So what is the forecast moving forward? Well, as I always say, I don't have a crystal ball, but my feeling on the VIX is that we will, if the market kind of stays in a range, if we don't make new lows, I'd see the VIX slowly eroding. But it really comes down to option trading in the SPX once again, and until we start getting realized volatility that comes in, until we stop having these days where we're up 400 points in the NASDAQ or down 400 points, the VIX just isn't going to come in. It doesn't make sense for it to. And I know that we look at the historical charts and we see the spikes receding pretty rapidly, but we don't know what's going to happen here. And my forecast remains the same until we see like the apex of cases in the United States start to recede. The VIX probably is going to stay up. It's kind of frustrating out there, but there are strategies that you can use to trade with the VIX that's up here that make some money. One of the ones that I have on right now is a condor. And what a condor is you're picking an area, a range that a stock or an ETF is going to stay in. And as long as it kind of stays in that range, you collect money every day. The way you accomplish that with an iron condor, for example, is you would sell out of the money call spreads and sell out of the money put spreads. A regular condor would just be just calls or just puts, but essentially you're picking points and in between which you're expecting this to go. So for me, I picked the points of for April expiration in 21 days or 22 days. I picked the points of like, I don't see VXX going below 31 in the next 21 days. I don't see it staying above 50 in the next 21 days. So I've picked this kind of like bullseye for where I expect VXX to be in the next wherever until expiration you're putting the options on. And then I kind of center the condor in the middle of that spot. And then as long as it stays in that range, you've put time on your side because you collect money every day. It's not like you're buying puts and you're like, oh, I really hope it gets down there in that period of time. We don't want to have hope be in our vocabulary. My mentor as a trader said, I don't want to ever hear you say the word hope again in your life. Take hope out of your vocabulary completely because we don't want to hope stuff. We want to have a plan and we want to stick to that plan. So yesterday, pretty amazing that VIX stayed really firm all day, even with the rally. Today, the same thing. VIX is down a little bit, but it basically only gave back what it was up yesterday. So we're still up in the 60s in the VIX. And, that's not super surprising to me because, like I said, the market is just moving around like crazy. Historically, does the top in VXX and UEXY occur before they go back into contango? Yeah, because you need the down move in the you need a kind of a big down move in the VIX. Usually, you either need it to stay really the same for a long time, or you need a down move in the VIX to get it back into contango. So generally, these products move lower with the VIX moving lower, and then it goes back into contango. And there are people who take the trading view that, hey, I'm just not going to trade these until they go back into contango, because then I know that's like kind of safe then. And so I'm going to stay on the sidelines when it's all crazy. I'll miss that, that one little part where it's at the highest to down a little bit, but I'll have positions on when we're in contango, and that way, when we're in contango, we have a little bit of a shock absorber, I like to say, between when you've got the futures way lower than the VIX. Or I'm sorry, when you've got the futures a little bit higher than the VIX, then the VIX has to go through the futures before stuff flattens out, and so it gives you a little shock absorber. So some people like to just wait to put short positions on until we're back in contango, and I certainly understand that. I think if you look back in time, almost every time we go from backwardation to contango, you're going to see these products move down first, and then we go back into contango. So let's see. Am I missing anyone, Edward? Yeah. So thanks for new members and whatnot. Please consider giving $1.99 to the channel to become a member. It's not very much money, and it helps things out, keeps the lights on and whatnot in the house here. Well, actually, it just pays for the internet pretty much for me. Anyway, so working on a project with Dave Modell tomorrow, but we will stay with regular broadcasts. There's stuff to do. This is an interesting market. Let's take a look at Tesla really quick before we go here. The condors I was talking about. Now, Tesla is another candidate for this kind of trade because Tesla is kind of in a mid-range from where it's been now. It's been all over the board, so volatility is high in the options, and it's kind of in a mid-range right now. So it's a good, in my opinion, it's at a good spot to play some trades because vol levels are high, and nobody knows if it's going to go up or down from here. So that's a tradable situation in my viewpoint. So if we look at Tesla, I think this is a candidate for Condor, and that's a pretty good chart right there because you can see that it's kind of in a mid-range. But if you were to say, for example, well, I'm going to make a bet that Tesla is going to stay between 350 and 700, or 350 and 800, let's say, in the next couple months. You could sell a Condor that puts you, as long as it stays in the middle here between 350 and 700, you make money, and it seems like a good spot for that. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, R. Van Green. You guys are the best. Really appreciate it. So I would be looking, name your favorite stock. The options are at a higher volatility than they probably have ever been, or at least are higher than they usually are. This is like a super volatile market, and this should be a place to jump in. Like I said, name your favorite stock. We have seen finally YOLO rally today. YOLO coming off the lows on pretty heavy volume. That being the MJETP. We have seen MNK come off the lows here. This is one of my perennial favorites. Look at the chart on this. We were down, and then this has had positive earnings the whole time, but it got caught up in the Purdue Pharma debacle with the opiate stuff, and then down, and now I bought some paying 187, and now it's off the lows. This is the kind of issue because it's such a small price stock that it could easily double just on like whatever. Thank you, R. Van Green from Hawaii. Appreciate our Hawaiian viewers out there. It must be nice to be out there right now. So wow, oil back down today. Oil back down, gold up a little bit, Russell up. It's just been an amazing rally. Is there a way to follow my picks? Sammy, I don't really make picks in stocks. I'm not. I basically just mostly trade the VIX products. I'm not a. I don't like fashion myself as like a guru that somebody should really follow. What I like to do is just show people kind of my trading decisions and stuff like that, and so that you can understand and learn how someone executes trades, what one trader thinks of like philosophically, and how I day-to-day trade stuff, that kind of thing. Stocks that I haven't really talked about stock picks that I like. I did mention MNK and YOLO, and I was trading DRI, but the thing is that DRI is way off the lows at this point. What's your thoughts on TVIX, UVXY, buy, sell, and hold? I am always I'm always either flat or short these products. I think that TVIX, UVXY are going lower. It's just a matter of time. Now, TVIX might pop again to 500 or 600, but I don't short the actual ETPs. I use options to short them, but I'm always thanks, Eric. But I'm always either flat or short these products. They're all heading to zero, and they're heading to zero faster than you may think, and that's just the way their products are set up. Now, as long as we stay in backwardation, they may not head to zero, but I'm generally either flat or short these products. Right now, I have no position in the position I have is in VXX, and I have a condor on a VXX, and what that means is that I'm betting that VXX is going to stay in a certain range, and my bet is that in the next month, VXX will stay in the range between 30 and 50, and that sounds like a pretty conservative bet, but that's just kind of where I am with this stuff. Want to be careful on all of these things. I do recommend, though, for people that you should be each week you should be buying a little bit of the general market. Pick your favorite one, whether it's the SPY, the USMV, or whatnot, because we want to participate when this stuff comes back up in the rally. Maybe this is not the best. If you're not long stuff already, maybe this is not the best moment to be jumping in long a bunch of stuff when we've just rallied. How many points have we rallied? We've rallied like 3,000 points in the Dow in the last 3 sessions. So I take a pretty pragmatic view of things. Like, now that we just rallied so much, I would be more inclined to sell something than buy it. When we are down a lot, I like to buy a little bit, and that's just the way it works for me. And like I said, I'm just one trader. I'm not putting myself out there as some sort of guru or something. I was a market maker in Chicago for many years. I spent a large portion of my life watching the tape, standing in a pit, and watching stuff trade. I've spent, probably half my life standing watching stocks trade on the trading floor. So that's my, my ticket to entry here. Yeah, so let's see what happens moving forward here. We are waiting, of course, on the House to ratify the stimulus package. We saw that number come out this morning in the market rally. I don't think it's a given that we have to go lower from here. We could just go sideways from here, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't have a crystal ball with me. What do you expect for April VIX until Friday? Well, let's take a look at April VIX really quick here. That's a hard question because that's just, Friday's coming right up. That just means in the next 24 hours or something. Let's take a look. It's very hard to say. But what I can tell you, though, is that there's pressure on the April VIX future to move higher because the VIX is so much higher than it. So even though we've had a down move here, if I had to make a guess, I would guess to the upside, just because the spread between the VIX and the front month future is so wide right now that there's pressure on that future to move up to meet the VIX. So, and also we've had a big down move here. So if you put a gun to my head, I would probably say that April future is going to go higher, but we don't know. Thanks for the crystal ball. The other thing to consider, of course, here is that some sort of a down move in volatility is expected when this deal actually goes through. So we'll see if the House can get this done and the president can sign the deal. If they can do that by the end of the day tomorrow, then we could see vol come in, certainly. But if they don't get it done, or if it gets held up for a couple days or something, then we can see stuff pop. So it's a very, very tough call on what's going to happen here. And I wish I could be more helpful as far as giving you insight, but anything I say is really pretty much a guess right now. The platform I'm using is Thinkorswim. It's available for free from TD Ameritrade. It's a very powerful platform. I know I'd say like I'm an intermediate user of this platform. There's more stuff to know, though. You can take a look back through time and see like what the markets look like on an exact day. It has scanners. It has things like it will give the order book, for example, for options resting orders. So you can go ahead and look, for example, in VXX, you can look and see what orders do the market makers see that are maybe away from the market, and you could trade with these orders. So it will show an order, it will show where the mark is right now and how close the order is to being tradable. Tons of great information here. The other thing that this platform has is it has like CNBC television you can watch, and they have their own television channel. So, and this is free. So great resource. I highly recommend it. Even if you're using a different brokerage, to execute, I would definitely consider Thinkorswim just as a means of information and modeling. It can be a little off at times with implied volatility quotes from options and whatnot, and it's not great for modeling options on the VIX. It's fine for modeling options on like UVXY, VXX, that kind of thing, but options on the VIX that are tied to futures, it's not great at. But yeah, there's tons of resources on YouTube about how to, learning about Thinkorswim, but I highly recommend it as a place to check out. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for us for today. I will be back tomorrow with you. I appreciate everybody attending. Leave any different comments or questions down below, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. Appreciate the honesty. As a VIX shorter, do you wait for an event to make it jump to buy in? Yes, I usually do, Sammy. What I do is I wait for a spike, and then I try to ride, surf the wave back down. Or if stuff is all calm, it works pretty strange. The option prices work pretty strange with these products, because a lot of times when stuff is all calm, option prices can be very favorable to actually buy, to get short. And when things are like crazy like this, sometimes it's very hard to get short because option prices are so high. All right, so there you have it. Thanks, Edward. Thanks, everybody. This is great. I have like 2 new members. Somebody gave some cash. I appreciate all the support. Like I said, I'm here for you guys. It's great that there's new people. I appreciate the new people coming, but I'm here for my core audience, and I want to try to help you guys out. I love hearing when people make money, and this is a fruitful trading environment right now. It's hard, but there's opportunities out there. So if you're shorting UVXY, is it okay to hold overnight? Yeah, usually my positions are, I'm a position trader, so I hold stuff for long periods of time, but I don't actually short underlyings. I use limited risk options trades. I don't like to actually short like a TVIX or UVXY, because if it pops up like 50 points, then you might be forced to cover. What can we hold on a day like today? What can we hold overnight? Well, I mean, like I said, what I do is I'll buy put spreads, and I'll hold on to them for weeks at a time as we move lower, because although I don't know exactly what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis, I know over the next month these products are moving lower. And so if you want to catch those moves, you got to be in ahead of time. As we all know, some of the biggest moves happen overnight. So if you're just trying to day trade these things, you're going to miss important moves. So I would educate yourself on how to use option strategies to short these products, and then put positions on overnight. Anything to buy after hours. I don't want to recommend stocks because it's not my specialty, and I don't want to just I don't want to just make up stuff for just to do it. So I don't have recommendations to hold right now, or to buy right now, or to short right now after the close. It's hard because we've had such a big rally. It's like, well, do you jump in here? The last thing I'd want to do is like, will you buy something here and then it goes back to the lows again? I'd rather wait for there to be an actual opportunity that presents itself that seems obvious, and then jump in there. So there you go. Patience. You could jump on TVIX to the long or short side, I suppose, but the thing is it's unclear to me what's going on. I know TVIX, if gun to my head, I would short TVIX and I would hold it for, until it goes back to 30, however long that takes. But we don't know what's going to happen coming up. I mean, if the VIX is only down a teeny bit with this huge rally, if it goes lower, we're probably going to pop again. But it's amazing. 2600, huh? SPX 2600. So quickly we're back up here. I think we're probably just going to slow down at some point. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the new people. You guys are awesome. Appreciate all the support, and hope you guys make money coming up in the next couple of days. We've got one more day tomorrow, and then the weekend. We'll see if the house can get this deal done. I hope you guys are being safe outside of trading. I think it's important to have some cash on the side, even actually take some cash out of the bank and stash it somewhere just in case the situation gets worse. You want to be prepared for whatever should happen. I don't want to see people like taking huge risk in the market when they don't have the money to be doing it, especially now, because there's so much uncertainty out there. So be careful, keep it small, and be safe, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody, for watching.